Okay, today I'm going to discuss guitar strings and why it's not necessary to be constantly changing them. Okay, here's a set of guitar strings. I got lots of them, but there's a way you can clean the strings and make them sound just like when the guitar was just like a set of fresh strings, brand new. And that's what I'm going to kind of go through. First of all, I'd like to discuss this guitar a little bit. I have a lot of friends on Facebook that are musicians. I'm going to say most of the guys, some of them are pros. And most of them know this stuff. But I got a few tricks here. Maybe they all don't know. Let's start by looking at this guitar. It's a very good guitar. Okay, that is get around this darn chair. This is actually a what's called a Squier Classic Vibe. Okay, these aren't to be confused with old Affinity and Bullet Series Classic Vibes. I mean, not Squiers they're just not very good. This is a high quality guitar. They're made in China, so they're cheap. I think these things list, I don't know, around 500. But they're excellent. Everything about them. This guitar is pretty much up to Fender USA specs. I mean, everything from the Alnico 5 pickups to the trim system to the full-sized potentiometers. One thing, it does have a bone. I mean, it's probably a plastic nut. Tuning keys are vintage style. So it's an excellent guitar. I mean, the thing's a great player. I've taken off, there's the trim bar. Took it off. I don't have, you'll notice I don't have that bridge set to 1/16 of an inch Fender specs, because when I use a trim, I do it subtly. I'm mostly playing jazz. I'm not dive bombing with it. But let's go into what I can do to improve this guitar, and I'm going to do it. And one is going to be removing that neck. Even though there's not a thing wrong with this neck. This guitar, by the way, if I didn't mention, it's called a 1960s Classic Vibes, was patterned after the 1960s Fender Stratocasters. Then it's in Lake Placid blue. Okay, now I said I was going to change this neck. Now why? There's nothing wrong with this neck. It's beautiful, roasted, roasted finish on it. It's fast neck. There's, a couple things I don't like, and one is, well, I don't like the fact that it says Squier on there. I just, even though this is a Classic Vibe, I'd much rather say Fender, and I'd rather have it silk screen on there. That's not the only reason. I'm not a fan of that truss rod adjustment right there. I want that truss rod adjustment right down here in the bottom where you can't get to it unless you pull the neck, which is no big deal. It's 4 bolts. But on a good neck, you're not going to have to do that very, very often. Okay. So I want a neck like that, and I'm probably going to try to get it in maple, because I think this is Porphyra, Indian Laurel, something. Obama outlawed rosewood a few years ago, and he declared war on Gibson. Mostly raided a Gibson factory twice because they were using endangered wood that had been harvested 80 years ago. Everybody knows that story. So I am seriously thinking about replacing that. No, I'm not thinking about it. I'm going to do it. Replacing that neck with a Ventura neck. And what that's going to do is basically convert this into a bona fide 60s Mexican Strat. Okay, another thing I'll probably do, even though it's got a very good block, heavy duty, just like the USA Fender under this, I think I'm going to change that thing out to brass. because I just feel like I get a better tone, you know, with brass versus steel. So that's the guitar. Now let's get around to here to what we do with these strings. A few things need, lay them out here, and you don't need much. This is a very simple process, and it works great. Start. All that is there is a piece of scouring pad. I cut it in half lengthways. You know, you can buy these things by, you know, how many ever you go at a time. You get them at the grocery store. What I'll do, well, let's back up. First thing I'm gonna do, I'll really touch it. Blow off any dust, anything that might be on that neck. I don't want to rub it with a rag right now because I don't want to rub any pressure on anything, you know, that can impregnate the windings on those strings. After we do that, we get our scouring pad here, and what I'll do, I probably can't do this with one hand holding the foam, but I'll kind of show you how it goes. Slip that dude in there, then run it down here all the way to the bridge, and I'm pulling up on it. I'll go at this angle right here all the way. I can see that's running at the same angle as the windings on the strings. I'll do that all the way up, back and forth, and I'll clean any kind of gunk that might have built up underneath those strings. And to tell you the truth, there's not going to be a lot, because when you're playing a guitar, your hand is contacting up here. So underneath, you're probably not going to have, it's not going to be much of an issue, but I do it anyway because I want to get a thorough cleaning. And what I'll do, turn it over, like that. Do the same thing. Run it in this fashion. I'll do it longer than I'm doing now. You know, this is just for the sake of the video. Oh, another thing I'll do, I forgot to mention, on the bottom, after I finish that, I'll run it. Well, I ain't got to put, I'll run it this way also. And I'll do the same thing on top. This scouring pad, that's going to get off, you know. It's going to clean off anything you got on there. And for good measure, I'm not done. Like I said, most of your foreign debris, whether it's acid, whether it's oil, whether it's whatever it is, dust, rust, whatever, you know, I mean, you put your hands on that thing. So anything you get on your hands is going right on that neck and right on that strings. I'll get this dude here, and all this is just a foam sanding pad. I'll lay it right here. Press down. Okay, what this will do will reach, since this is a sponge, this will reach in there and grab not only the top of those strings, but the bottom of them as well. So after doing that, we should have a thorough cleaning on those strings. In practice, I'll do it longer than what I'm doing this video. After we've done all that, we don't really want to wipe because we've cleaned all this stuff off. So we want to use air. Actually, outside here, I usually just use a leaf blower on that. Good strong leaf blower. Now we should have a perfectly clean neck. Okay, the next step. Okay, I generally like to use gun oil. I don't have any at the moment. So we'll just use some 3-in-1. Use some 3-in-1 oil, okay. With this, I'm gonna oil. Wouldn't take this off. Maybe. I want to oil right here, just a drop on the nut, and of course these contact points. You know, down here on the bridge. Get a little oil on there. I mean, you got metal to metal friction points, contact points. You know, you put oil in your car motor. Put oil on your gun, anyway you want to oil your guitar. I go a step farther. Look at this. Now, this is kind of a secret trick that not a whole lot of people know. And this is what this video is really all about. Put some of that oil right there on the rag, just like that. And I'll take it. And that's right. When I'm done, and I'll explain this in a minute, is oiling those strings. Okay, why would I want to oil strings? Well, there's one good reason, because I want the guitar to sound good. Okay, after I've applied oil, you look already. See what that's removed? If you can see it, there's a little black stuff on there. So that should have taken off any excess debris. After I've done that, I'm going to come over here and just kind of wipe it down a little bit. And now we've got them strings feel nice and silky. There may be other things you can use. You could probably use a fast fret. Like I say, I prefer gun oil. I couldn't find it. I've used lemon oil, you know, 3-in-1. If you really want the finest oil you can get your hands on, which would be gun oil now. There are two reasons why I want to do this. One, that oil is going to be on there. And even I can clean this guitar, like I showed before, and there's going to be a film of oil still clinging to those strings. What that does is it acts as a barrier. Anything from your fingernail, from your fingertips, to any other outside influences, whatever they might be, including rust, that oil will set up a barrier so that any of that unwanted debris, whatever it is, acid, oil, dirt, gunk, whatever, pollen, I mean, anything you touch is going on that guitar neck. I mean, you can wash your hands constantly, but you don't really want your hands soft when you're playing a guitar, because it took a long time to build up them calluses. So you want to, best thing to do, just, you know, if your hands are clean anyway, just wipe them off with a rag, dry rag. Now do that. And I spent a lot of hours on stage. And what they nearly always do at the big stages, you know, the A-rooms or the concerts, they'll have a towel girl that'll come out and they'll hand out towels to musicians. And these are to wipe, you know, wipe your hands, wipe down the neck of your guitar, which also have to do, if you're playing live, you got to do a lot, because you're going to sweat under those lights. You know, you're just going to sweat. Hands are going to sweat, and you want you want a rag to wipe it down. And of course, you want to hit on top of it too. So that is my trick, and I hope that's some useful information, because I can save you a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time putting those on. All right, thanks for watching.